Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 156 of D&D Discussions, the podcast for players and DMs alike, where we cover a wide variety of topics to help you with your games. I'm your host, Ryan Reeder, and with me, as always, is my good buddy, Ben Bumhopper. How are you doing tonight, Ben?
I am here and ready to record, just raring to go. Hopefully going fast enough so that I don't run out of gas before the end of the episode.
We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We got a really great listener question. We got some new news. New news. Yeah, that's right. New news. And let's just start with that. Let's start with the new news. So for those of you who have been around for a while, you may remember back a few years ago that D&D Beyond offered a la carte options where you could basically buy like individual things just cheaply.
Yeah, like a species or a subclass.
Yeah, if you wanted to get a specific thing but didn't necessarily want to buy the whole book. That went away a little while ago, and it was cited that it was basically just a massive load on their back end, because it had to accounts were having to check like hundreds or thousands of different like individual licenses and all sorts of stuff. It basically wasn't
turned into a data nightmare.
Yeah. Which as a tech person, I can appreciate. However, they've been looking to find kind of a happy middle ground, happy medium for people who still want a la carte stuff. And so just recently, they have kind of come back with their first iteration of what that might look like, in the form of class starter packs. So these are classes from the 2024 Player's Handbook that you can now buy individually. Each pack contains the class rules for 5.5, 3 subclasses featuring options that aren't available in the free basic rules, 7 feats, 2 species, taken from the 2022 source book, Mordenkainen Presents Monsters in the Multiverse. And each pack also includes a pre-made level 3 character and a bonus digital dice associated with that particular class.
Which, I mean, the reason to get all these is for those digital dice if you don't have them, of course.
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So all 12 of the classes that are in the 2024 Player's Handbook are available to be bought as a starter pack. So if you didn't want to buy the entire new handbook, but you wanted to play one of the new classes in a campaign or one shot or something, you can get what I just talked about for $4.99 each. So if you don't want to shell out, $50 for the hardcover version or $30 for the digital version, or you just want to maybe test it out, give it a test run, these are now up on D&D Beyond, and honestly, I think that's probably a pretty good like happy medium. Especially I assume we will see these expand to maybe like spell packs or creature packs or species packs or things of the like, where they can group a much larger chunks of content than very individualized things, that will make it easier on their back end servers and databases.
Yeah, and I mean, these are very much what they're called is basically a starter pack. So like, let's say, you're just trying the basic rules, and Bard is fun. You like being a lore Bard, but what are these other subclasses that are just normally there? Well, I don't want to get the whole book because I love barding. I want to be a bard. but I want to try different subclasses. So the Bard starter pack gives you the three others that are in the player's handbook, and you get access to those as well as some feats and stuff, backgrounds. Basically, it has the charlatan and entertainer background. So again, it's themed more towards barding, which it works. The species involved with that at least are the hobgoblin and the satyr. So kind of interesting, but each of these has the three subclasses that aren't in the basic rules. So you get, a complete class at that point. I think that's pretty cool. I think that adding in some species that were in the Mordenkainen's Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, I think that's pretty cool too, because again, it's something that you don't need to get the whole book for. If there's a specific species that you're looking for that you want to play with, you can pick up a starter pack for $5. That's not a horrible thing. And then on top of that, there is a species pack or starter pack that is out. It's the Eberron species pack. And it's basically all the species that are in the Eberron Forge of the Artificer, which I think is pretty great. So yeah, I mean, as a hey, I just want to get a little bit more into D&D. These I think are really good, kind of extra starting spot, and I'm all for them. I mean, I have the books, so I don't need them personally, but I will recommend them to anybody who's like, yeah, cleric's cool, but I kind of want to try some new stuff, and not be the domain of life. Like, well, let me tell you
Or
about this
just as like
trickery.
a dip into 5.5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gives you a little bit more than the basic rules, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So we'll have a link in the show notes to that if you want to check it out, or if that sounds interesting to you. And you are a D&D Beyond uh, user / player. And another thing, because D&D Beyond has just been doing all sorts of stuff lately, which is great.
Yes.
It's nice to see it moving again, as kind of like the go-to digital spot. Just recently, they introduced a brand new feature for subscribers to D&D Beyond called D&D Beyond Drops. So these are basically extras that you get for, quote unquote free, just kind of as an a value add if you have a hero or DM or master
Master tier.
tier,
Yeah.
yeah, subscription. Basically, what this is planned on is extra content that they will add either monthly or every so often, when they have it ready. And as long as you are subscribed, you will have access to it. These will include new character options, encounter drops, cosmetic perks like dice and such, new components for maps, feats, spells, just backgrounds. All pretty much. It sounded like most everything was on the table, potentially even subclasses. Um, this is actually all being done by either the D&D Beyond team, the Wizards team, or freelancers that they are hiring to come and do this. So they likened it to, I believe it was Dragon Magazine,
Yeah.
where they were able to pull in all this other talent. Kind of, we talked about a few times, like the farm system, right? They
Mm-hmm.
can pull up these up and coming designers, maybe third party publisher people, and have them create content, play test it, and then it will go into these drops. They described it as things that may not like fit into a book, or you couldn't do a whole book about it, but there's some cool stuff there. So maybe it fits into a drop, right? So yeah, that's this is live now. There is a decently chunky drop. At first, they said subsequent ones probably won't be quite that big. But there's a lot of interesting stuff already to kind of play around with. So if you are subscribed, there you go. It's free. It's a value add. If you're not, they are, I assume, just looking for more ways to incentivize and entice getting in a subscription.
Yeah. So if you don't know what the perks were and everything before these drops happened, essentially they were, backgrounds for your character sheets, digital dice, or potentially like a sticker pack for maps or character frames, animated or static and stuff. So it's just kind of cool. It's a nice little like, oh hey, I get this extra thing. Um, but now the fact that they're throwing in like spells and feats and backgrounds and stuff, it's turning into, I mean, definitely a lot more bang for your buck. Like not gonna discount that or discredit that at all. But there are a couple issues that have kind of come up with this, and I mean, we'll get more into it when we go into one of our next topics, which I think is just perfect to kind of jump right into right here. What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah. I would say the big caveats as is that obviously when you stop subscribing, you lose access to them.
Yes.
Now, if you have them on a character, you will not lose them. Like anything built from any drop content on a character will stay even if you stop subscribing, but if you take it away or take it off, you won't be able to put it back on.
Yes.
So
Um,
that's like one of the big things.
then the other really big thing is on D&D Beyond, content sharing is a thing. So like I'm subscribed at the master tier because I'm a DM. So, I want
Mhm.
to have access to as many character slots and just, everything available to me as possible. And well, I content shared to my group. I also content share to, I think it's me for +5 to hit. I'm not 100% sure, but basically, I'm paying this extra amount so that I can share all the stuff that I purchase, which is a great deal on this website. But now I'm getting these things that are coming in, feats, spells, backgrounds, that these drops are not available for sharing. So then we kind of start looking at it as, okay, but I'm wanting to share everything that I have. I'm a DM. It doesn't make sense for me to have feats and spells that my players don't have access to. Or if I'm a player, if my DM doesn't have access to it, then are they just going to, ban it from the game because, they can't read it, they don't see it, they don't know what it is, things like that. I mean, there's really stupid ways around this. Like you can just make a homebrew version of it and then put it in, which is silly. Um, but that's kind of, I think, the biggest thing that people are asking and really kind of pushing back on, at least in the new Ask Me Anything on Reddit that came out. I mean, that question was asked probably more times than any other throughout the entire AMA. And the thing is
Oh
like,
yeah, there was an AMA.
yeah.
It turns out because we even had a few people in our Discord talking about it and
Hmm.
like how yeah that sucks that you can't share. It's like yeah no I mean you're not wrong.
Yeah.
That's definitely a little annoying, especially if you're a DM a master tier
Yeah.
subscriber. And then it turns out they had an AMA specifically on drops.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. Like I see all sides of this argument, which is, it's one of those rare instances where it's like, "Oh, I get it." But I don't think either side is really going to win in this situation here because so, from a player perspective, I've already given that. Like, can't share. I've given you reasons why I think it's bad. But the people who are contributing to give you these things, I mean, the party line from them is, they's got to get paid. And so, if they're just making it shared for everybody, it doesn't incentivize people to, actually subscribe, which I get that. Unfortunately, that's like corporate mentality of, well, we need to be able to to pay for the content that we're giving you. And like, that's where it gets icky in this whole discussion. But like, I get where they're coming from, where they're offering us more stuff, but they need to be able to, because they're not doing anything AI with this, which thank God. These are people who are creating things or translating them from, previous editions or, something. So there is work going into this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, very, very top comment of the AMA: make content drop shareable via master tier. The very
Mhm.
first thing. And so they, to their credit, they did answer it. And like Ben said,
Multiple
they
times.
basically just said, we need to pay the great designers, artists, and developers working on D&D Beyond drops. We also think it's really important to make the entire subscriber content library accessible to hero tier subscribers as well as master. Not making drops content eligible for content sharing was a necessary trade-off to hit those goals. With that said, I hear and appreciate the feedback on being able to share drops content with players in your group that don't have the disposable income for a hero tier subscription. The team is taking another look at the trade-offs and considering other solutions. So the very first comment was, you know, if we're talking trade-off, how about master tier just be able to share the player options?
Yes.
Yeah. And they did reply, good distinction on player options versus DM options, something we will think about. So I love the transparency here. These AMAs have actually been really great.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they continue doing this type of thing, because it has been really nice to get a little bit more transparency with the team themselves. But it is really nice to hear that they are potentially looking at player facing, player option stuff for content drops being shareable if you have a master tier subscription, because um I think that would be a very good, like, happy medium.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like when I saw that as pretty much the kind of the first big solution, I was like, yeah, that it makes sense because as a DM, again, I share my content so that my players have access to all these wonderful things. And if there's something that's really cool, like a new feat that comes in or a background or something, it's like I don't want to be like, oh, you should do this, and like I don't have access to it, but I'm sharing everything. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and so obviously we'll have a link to the AMA if you want to go through it on the show notes on ddiscussions.com. We probably won't go through every answer. A lot of it was just about drops.
Hmm.
Um we're just going to hit a few highlights before we jump over to our topic for the episode. But one of the things I did see get asked is, hey, will there be a way to get dropped as a one-off purchase? I think that was a great question.
Yeah.
And they did say it's something they discussed, and they asked for, feedback. But it sounded like the majority of people were just like, hey, bundle them, whether it's like yearly drop bundles or quarterly drop bundles or
Hmm.
something like that, that you could purchase like the best of type things. um I think that would make a lot of sense if they want
Yeah.
to make drops exclusive for a certain amount of time, right? That's your subscription value add. But I do think that, yes, at some point you should make those things available for just flat out purchase, um, so that people who don't want to or don't need to subscribe but want access to some of these cool things, especially if there isn't any sort of sharing that ends up being enabled, having them available for purchase after some sort of time limited window would help fix that to an extent as well.
Yeah. And the idea of releasing them in a book as well for people who, don't do a lot of the digital stuff also came up, which that was kind of, more pushed to the side of like, well, it takes a lot to do a book. So, maybe not that. Um, yeah. Overall, it's You kind of pretty much said it right away, in that these AMAs I think are really helping. And every time we go over one of these, one of the things I bring up, feedback wise, is that it really shows that they're listening and they're caring about our sort of feedback, which is why, again, whenever those polls come out, you should definitely go in and let them know your thoughts, because they they care. They want to do something good. I mean, obviously it's, for the betterment of the company, but at the same time, we're the consumers who are basically saying, hey, this is what would be good. And a lot of what people are kind of, giving us feedback is really taken into consideration, work through, and either, changes are made, or at least reasons on why they can't be made are given. And having just complete access to them like this is such a good thing. And especially with the drops, because again, having a huge thing of I can't share them being asked multiple times really kind of gives them the feedback and the idea of like, oh, maybe we kind of screwed up on this. Let's take it back, which is exactly what they're doing.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of obviously there's a lot of other questions about the drops. There's questions about one I wanted to hit on real fast. The rebuild is apparently going well. Um, and they're talking about being able to do things like conditions,
Mm-hmm.
um, features that spells affect on your character sheet. Turning on mage armor and making your AC go up.
Yeah.
Start blade singing and stats change when blinded rolls are automatically a disadvantage, etc.
Yeah.
So he said the team is seeing good progress on the platform rebuild, but they do take time. So,
Well,
and I
and one
think
thing
that's
too,
that's kind of what we got from the earlier one, is
yeah.
that this is an all year thing.
Well, and one thing too, I don't remember the exact comment, but making changes based on like status effects and stuff is one of the first features that they're really looking at incorporating into the character sheets, which I think is pretty cool. Because I mean, how often is it like, okay, now what does the status do? Then you need to read it. Then you need to remember that you have it. Then yeah, as opposed to everything just kind of changing. Which, as someone who plays a 5.5 barbarian, being able to just say, hey, I'm raging now, and then have everything update on my character sheet is great.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. One other cool one I saw, someone asked about the possibility of adding folders to
Yeah.
organize characters, because especially if you are subscribed, some people have a lot of characters when you can make unlimited unlimited characters. So they seem to like that suggestion. I think that's a great idea, being able to organize your characters by like a folder structure versus having just like 50 of them just kind of in a one single screen.
Yeah. And my favorite thing on here too is can we add an unowned filter on the marketplace? Because they have the owned and also shared, but they don't have an
That would be
unowned.
nice.
Because, yeah, I would really like to know what I actually don't have, as opposed to looking at the entire thing and be like, I think I have, I think I have, I think I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And one other thing, they did reaffirm that encounters is high on the list.
Yes.
Getting that updated. Thank God, because I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Even in spite of it being like very bare bones and not even set to 5.5 right now. I still use it just for the tracking because it is so helpful. So having like an actual updated version of that would be just so nice.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
nice. But yeah, we will have the full AMA linked on datadiscussions.com if you want to check it out and read through all the different stuff, all the different answers yourself. They did a great job in answering a lot of the questions people had, and hopefully we'll see more of these.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into our listener question, and this was taken from our Discord, and I really liked it. It's a very good topic to discuss. So, um, it goes essentially. There's a few specific things I'm struggling with role play wise. I'm an eloquence bard, so my persuasion and deception are crazy good. But as a player, I'm kind of socially anxious and cautious. Another player is a barbarian. He's a reformed pirate lawyer. Fantastic.
Hmm.
As a player, he's kind of gregarious and charismatic, but he usually leads with the persuasion tactics because that's who he is as a player. And I usually step back because that's who I am as a player. But it would make more sense for my bard to be the party face because that's how it was built. I also don't want to step on his toes because I know that's what he enjoys as a player. So I guess my other question is, how do you balance who you are as a player with who you are as a character? Which I think is kind of particular to charisma because everything else you can kind of just say, yeah, I'm strong or yeah, I'm dexterous. Great question.
Yes.
Absolutely great question. Ben, do you want to hit this first?
Well, being the charismatic person and player that I am, sure, why not? Here's the thing. It is really hard to kind of, play against type. If, you're kind of like a more reserved, quiet person, jumping in and doing a very eloquent, socially adept character, it can be tough and it can be a challenge. But that's one of the greatest things that role playing games are there for, is so that you can kind of get out of your shell, get in there and be something that you're not, and try, different things. It's one of the reasons why role play is so important, I think, in life and for everybody, to be able to, really kind of explore different aspects of yourself and of, what you could do, what you could be, or, as we've always said before, how D&D can be like, therapy, getting over traumas, because you're role playing through situations that are potentially bad or something, and you're kind of working through it and finding success in all those things. That being said, it's kind of hard until you really kind of, you know, put forth or put yourself out there as the character to really do this, kind of do the whole fake it till you make it kind of thing. And, for some people, if you've never heard that phrase, basically it is the epitome of role playing, of acting, of putting yourself out there. You're going out there with the knowledge that you definitely don't have, but you are very confident in it, you are strong in it, you are pushing that out there. And sometimes if you have to play a character that is super charismatic when you're kind of not, turn the dial up to 11 and just go for it, because it'll match kind of your stats in game. But once you kind of get past that whole, oh my gosh, I need to be loud, I need people to pay attention, I need to be the center of attention right here, it becomes a lot more natural. You become a lot more, comfortable in that skin when you're putting yourself in that position. Now, I'm not saying completely walk over the pirate lawyer, because, I mean, he's a pirate lawyer. He's obviously been in court many, many times. But maybe the next time you guys are having downtime or at a tavern or something, start telling a story about something that happened, and or like try to riff off of them, kind of step out of your shell and really try to, make your character known. And I know it's so much easier said than done, especially if it's kind of against your, how you are in the real world. But this is the one place where you can go and you're playing there with your friends. It's a safe place. Whatever you say and do is just there for fun. So take that step and go out there. And you know what? Maybe ask about I don't know, a case that the pirate lawyer, prosecuted or defended or something, and then make up something about how you would have done it this way. Or, oh, that sounds like a story that I heard back when I was traveling with, this group of troubadours I was with, or at my college where I, had to give my dissertation on why apples are better than oranges or something, like basically, take that leap and just go for it. And again, so much easier said than done. I understand that.
So I that is 100% a great way to do it. It is. Um, I'd like to offer not not a counterpoint, an alternative.
Yeah.
An
Oh, there's
alternative.
many ways to go about
Um,
this.
so just to start off, there are there are times when a player is playing the wrong character. Um, and I say that to the I had just as an example, I had a game and I had a player playing, it was like a fighter or barbarian or something like that. But the player themselves is very smart, very analytical. Um and they kept but the character they were playing was not. Very low intelligence, very low charisma, just like a like, hit the punch first, ask questions later
Hmm.
type character. And they had an extremely hard time breaking having coming finding a middle ground between the player they were and the character they were playing. Um it can be really good as a player. It can really stretch you to play a character like that, where if you're normally in real life very charismatic or very smart, and you have to, in a lot of ways, tone yourself down in many ways. Um, and that can be just as much of a role play flex as, like what Ben was talking about, where you go for it and try to be that charismatic uh character, right? But I always warn people, be careful about that, because it can really either cramp the style of the other players who are meant to be more of the face or are playing like legitimately the smart characters or the charismatic characters, if you're constantly trying to jump in, right, and do the things that you as the player are smart and charismatic about, but your character is not. And so you have to really keep that in mind when you make a character, that you are able to, or at least try to play them to what your that character is. So like that's number one, right? That's
Hmm.
just try to play to your character, and that goes in both directions, from the charismatic and intelligent to the not so charismatic and not so intelligent. It is a role play. It is a strength of role play in either direction.
Hmm. Oh,
Like I
definitely.
know, like I would definitely, I've played characters like that where I've had to, like, in my mind go, wait, no, my dude would have absolutely no idea about this. I go up and I just smack the door. I don't even try to see if it's open or not. I don't even think about lock picking. I'm just gonna hit it and see what happens,
Yeah.
type thing, right? So that's one piece. So the other piece, when you are a more reserved player playing, but you want to play something charismatic, something very intelligent, like more so than yourself. Like obviously, like I as Ryan don't have a 20 int. I don't.
What?
I don't. I know it's wild, right?
But you're one of the
Um,
smartest people I know.
maybe it's like a 14 or 16 or
You know
something like
what?
that.
I'm gonna give you a 15. We're gonna cut it in half.
Okay, cool. I don't get the extra like stat modifier,
Yeah,
but
but you're there. Like take a feat on your next
I need
level
to
up.
just take it. Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
take a feat, and we'll be there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like if you're that kind of player who is obviously playing a character that is going to be played up, from what you are as a person. Um, if you are not comfortable kind of doing the scenario that Ben described,
Hmm.
a great way around that, and this is something you can talk to your DM or your party about as well. Um, you don't have to fully play to it. You could be in a situation where you as the bard need to convince a king of something, right? As a player, you could never do that. You are not very charismatic. Maybe you're introverted. You don't want to do that. So in that situation, maybe try something like, well, my character Samwise Gamgee uh, weaves a incredibly alluring tale and is very flowery and boisterous and plays to the king's favorite, musical interest. Maybe I then go and open a box that has his favorite gifts. I grab out my mandolin and I play a tune that I think he will absolutely love.
Hmm.
And that's the extent of it. You didn't you didn't have to come up with the speech.
Yeah.
You didn't have to come up with the favorite thing. You didn't have to come up with a ton of flowery language. You just said what your character did. And everybody else, the DM, the other players, their brains can fill in those descriptors as you are basically just describing the shell of what your character would do in that situation because your character is really good at it and your character would do that. Even
Hmm.
if you, the player, can't think of all that stuff. So that can be a really great way to go about, and this works for any sort of interactions, right?
Yeah.
Describe what your character would do rather than directly trying to portray the character. Because at the end of the day, you are you and you still are limited by your person, right? Um and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are ways like that you can work around those limitations to still get the idea across in the game that your character, who is good at all that stuff, is still doing what needs to be done or saying the things that need to be said. And then you can let the roles and your stats, which will likely be very good for those sides of things, carry you forward.
Yeah. And just to build on top of that too, like Ryan was saying, it's not only charisma for that. I mean, intelligence is another key attribute where this is something that happens. Like, the DM throws a puzzle at you and you're having a really hard time with it, but you have a 20 in intelligence. You can easily say, hey, my character is very intelligent. You know, is there anything that I could glean off of this that someone else with like a lower intelligence might not? Or can I roll for it or something along those lines? Because puzzles are part of the game as well. But if you're having a problem and are stuck on one, if your character is supposed to be super smart, then the DM should definitely be playing into that as well. So, it's like, you go up to the whole, there's two doors. One of them tells the truth. One of them always lies. Except if you don't know the solution to that and you're just like trying to kind of think of something to do, but you're like way off or something, just say, hey, my character is really smart. What would I say? Or I say something that, helps me figure this out. Or, maybe that's not the best example, but it's the idea of your character has these stats. Even if you don't have to always portray them. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing there.
Yeah. And as a DM, work with that. No, I mean, and it's not always possible. It may be early in a campaign, it may be a one shot, something like that. But as a DM, be open to players like that.
Mm-hmm.
Be open to allowing for that, allowing space for that, and still rewarding people based on that. Like, I had a player in one of my campaigns. He wasn't a huge role player. He wasn't. He did it a little bit, but a lot of the times he would just describe what his character did and what his character was doing. Uh, and that's totally fine. I continue to role play with that or as reaction to that,
Mm-hmm.
what he was saying his character was doing. But the role play wasn't like a fully back and forth thing. He wasn't fully, talking through things because role playing was not his strong suit. He liked the combat. That was one of his reasons he loved to play. And so it's just adapting. It's just adapting to different players and different play styles.
Yeah.
You may get a group that is like full on role play. Everyone's just full on in character, doing things in character, you know, and whatnot. And you may not, or you may get a mix, and that's totally fine. And you just have to adapt based on that.
Yeah, as a DM, it's your job to make sure that everybody's engaged how they choose to engage. It's why, some players will say, I do this, or they'll say, my character does this, my character does that. Or, speaking entirely like third person, like Joe walks over and blah, 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 whatever. It's them interacting and still playing and enjoying what they're doing, and you're just giving them the vehicle to that success or failure. um oh, I got something more to add to this too, but I totally forgot. As an example, in my campaign, I have a bard who at the very beginning said, hey, I'm not going to sing. And my first response immediately was, oh, no one ever said you had to sing. Like, it's just one of those things. You're a bard. It doesn't mean that you have to perform for everybody at the table. Just because when I play a bard, I like to sing and do silly, fun stuff and everything like that. That's how I role play it. It's not the right way. It's not the only way. It's just how I do it. So I would never expect anybody else to play the game the same exact way as I play, because that's just what I do. So yeah, that whole thing that I gave you at the very beginning, that's how I would do it. But you don't have to. You can do it exactly how Ryan said. You can find your own way to kind of get your character in there and do things. And it's the interacting with the other characters and how you choose to do it and portray it yourself that really comes down to the important thing here.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And honestly, great question.
Yeah.
This is something that comes up a ton. It really does. And again, there's nothing wrong with you. It's all different play styles,
Different comfort levels,
different
even.
different comfort levels, different people, right? Different parties. And the way that you adapt and are flexible, especially as a DM, is very important for
Mm-hmm.
those situations.
Yeah.
So,
So, you know what? If you want to be, more loud and outspoken and everything, give it a try. Again, it's a safe place to do that. If not, then make sure that you're speaking for your character, and making sure that everybody does know that it is something that you want to do, as opposed to just kind of letting everybody kind of do their own thing without you getting a chance to really advocate for yourself and your character's
yeah. Or
abilities
play to your
and stuff.
character's strengths.
Yeah.
Because if you don't ever get to do the thing that your character is built for or that your character is really good at, that is going to diminish your fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So make sure you're having fun too.
Yeah, that's important because especially in a group setting, being kind, letting everybody talk, letting everybody have their turn, it's important. But that doesn't mean that you need to give up your turn so that everybody else can have fun.
Yep, I agree. And speaking of fun,
Oh my.
me and Ben are just kind of like giddy over this Neon Odyssey Kickstarter that is currently going on.
Yes.
I think we mentioned it an episode or two back. Hadn't launched yet. It's currently launched. It's got like 20 some days. It has become the most funded 5e supplement, period. Like, uh,
Yeah.
I think we're about at 9.5 million as of
Yeah.
this recording.
As of this recording, we're at 9.45 million.
It is almost past the Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, ticker just went up too.
Yeah, it's almost past the Dungeon Crawler Carl crowdfund, and it is just like 3-ish million away from passing the all-time
Just went up again.
TTRPG Kickstarter or crowdfund period, which is the Cosmere RPG. That it currently holds the record for the biggest TTRPG crowdfund at like 12.2 million, because Sanderson things be doing Sanderson things. But it's got a legit shot of beating both those things. I don't know, it's just so colorful and so fun and so science fantasy.
Yeah.
It's just so many of my favorite things. I love sci-fi. I love space stuff. I love vehicles. I love ship combat. They're basically just taking the bones of D&D and building an entirely like sci-fi game on top of it. And it's just really pretty and colorful and very fun. There's a 50-page content preview that you can grab as well on the Kickstarter site. Yeah, it's super cool. It's just super cool. So we had to shout it out again. We were both talking about it. We both want to run campaigns in this world, or a version of this world. Like, I don't know. I haven't been this excited for like a D&D supplement in quite some time, but this thing really just caught my eye, and I don't know. It really, I just latched onto it.
Yeah.
Super cool.
It's got a lot of really cool stuff. It's reskinning everything. And, I did say that I was going to do Spelljammer for my next campaign. In the very least, I'll probably take things from this to add to Spelljammer, or just straight up combine them completely. Sorry, just DM
Getting
just
ideas, ideas live.
So the thing that I was telling you, like if they choose to do the thing,
yeah,
just jump right into this.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a big enough change. I think it'll matter. So yeah. Oh
yeah. So it's a space opera campaign setting. It has vehicle rules, a cinematic space combat system, a brand new class, sci-fi skins for all the 5 classes, 52 subclasses, 42 species, 250 plus monsters, 100 plus upgradable vehicles, racing rules, bounty hunter ranking system, 30 explorable worlds, 13 factions, 40 missions, 100 plus magic items, an advanced profession system, economy rules, 24 spacefaring backgrounds, 100 plus new spells, 120 plus new feats, upgraded downtime rules, and more. So like it is like 1,400 pages of just brand new D&D. It's D&D but space.
yeah.
And it just, I don't know. Like I said, it makes me happy. I love the animated trailers they have done for it. Just gorgeous. Some of the coolest like TTRPG content this side of animated, Legend of Vox Machina type thing.
Yeah, and I mean, just the reskins alone are cool, make sense. Like Monk is a disciple, Barbarian's a juggernaut, the fighter's just a soldier, Rogue is a scoundrel. Just new skins, new subclasses. Just the art is amazing on it. It looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So yeah, community shout out. I think it has definitely been shouted out, and we'll probably be speaking about this much more later on, especially when it releases.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, we just had to mention it one more time
Because it's live.
it's live, and we've just been very, very excited about it. Okay. With that, that ends the content for our regular episode. But of course, before we go, we usually talk a little bit about what we've been doing. So Ben, have you been playing? Have you been DMing at all recently?
No, unfortunately, this month is super busy. So even if I was ready to run again, it would not behoove me to do it because it's a very busy month and scheduling would have been horrible here. So I'm
But
I'm
next
I'm
month?
I'm really hoping to get back into it next month because I need to get my
Yes,
creative
you
juices
do. You
running
do.
again, flowing again. Yeah, that's what I meant, flowing
Flowing.
again.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I can't
Let
even
it
say the
flow.
right,
Let it
really
flow.
cool metaphor because I'm just so creatively just dried up at the moment.
It's just rusty. It's just
Yeah.
rusty. You just shake off the rust.
Yeah. You'd be like, okay, I need you to roll a d20. What does that mean again? Crap. Yeah. So I'll get back into it soon.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah. How about you? Did you get a chance to play? I know that you've got some real exciting, cool stuff going on.
Yes, I did get a chance to play. So, I will soon be having there's another couple that is joining my main campaign.
Oh,
Um, and it'll be really interesting, and I can't wait to kind of talk through how it's going to go. So, um, we had one person retire from our main campaign. And so we decided there was another couple that was kind of looking for a game. So the first thing I did was say, "Hey, group, is this something you're interested in potentially?"
that's good.
Um, and once I got there, okay, I talked to the couple. I was like, "Hey, is this something you're interested in? Is this the a schedule you could commit to? Because we play twice a month." Um, and they said yes. So I put together a one shot that was basically just like a test um, for both the group and the new couple to kind of get a feel for things, see if there was cohesion, see if it was fun, see if they all got along, that sort of thing.
Which is very
So it's a
important.
yeah, great way to kind of intro things to see if it'll work essentially, right? Um, so we played that. It ended up being a lot of fun. We had a really good time. Everyone got along, and then I asked everyone individually afterwards what their thoughts were, what their feelings were, because if any of them were not jiving, I wasn't going to make it happen. I wasn't going to force it. And I highly recommend doing something similar to this if you're going to add new people, especially mid campaign, a campaign that's been going on for a few years. Um, so everyone was cool with it. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to our next session here in like a week and a half, um, or 2 weeks or so, is we are going to do a session 0.5 where
Oh,
essentially the whole group's gonna sit down and we're going to build the new people's characters. We are going to establish relationships. We are going to create NPCs. We're going to do all these things that we need to do to ground them in the world and connect them in some way to the existing party. Because that was kind of that was kind of the stipulation. Like one of the few stipulations that we had is, hey, we're going to need to make relationships, and there's going to need to be some sort of connection, because otherwise it's just way too hard to bring new characters in at this point of a campaign, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They have to have similar goals. They have to have some sort of connections to what the characters are or what they're doing, to make it work. So that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna have a legitimate like session 0.5 where we get everything fleshed out, um, characters built, relationships built, NPCs built, go over the history of the campaign and what's happened so far with them and all this sort of thing. And then we will play again. But that's I I I highly recommend something like that if you've been doing a campaign for a few years and you have people switch out, because you want that. I don't want to lose the cohesiveness. I don't want to lose the story. I don't want to lose the focus.
Hmm.
So doing something like this hopefully will help avoid those pitfalls, to a large extent, and help bring the new group together much easier and more organically.
Well, that's very good. I wish you the best of luck in it, but in all honesty, it sounds like you're off to a really good start on it in the first place. So
Yeah.
I'm
Hopefully,
excited to hear how
it
they
would go
integrate in.
well.
Yeah.
It's I have not done anything quite to this extent before, so it's a learning process, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll do great though. I mean, from everything I've seen from your DMing and stuff, and you take a lot of your players' thoughts and considerations into consideration. And then on top of that too, you've got a really like fleshed out world for them to kind of step into. So on their
Yeah,
part, I
which
think
is
that
very
you've made it a
helpful.
lot easier for them. So you know what? Very cool. And like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing about how it goes.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes. And I'm excited to get back into my main game as well, because we know got to be wrapped up by November of next year.
If everything is released on time.
Yeah. And if that ends up lining up with a satisfying conclusion, blah blah blah. Yes, yes, yes. But no, I'm excited to get back into it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I miss the main campaign. The one shot was a lot of fun. Lots of thinking on my toes, because you never know what people are gonna do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially if they're new.
yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Well, that's very good.
But with that, I think that will draw our episode to a close. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I'm really excited. It's been really fun to do all these. And the God's willing, we will hopefully have a very fun next episode where we'll have a cool interview that is coming. So just teasing that there. Hopefully it all still works out, scheduling and stuff, but that is the plan. So I'm excited to get that out, here in a few weeks as well. Of course, before we go, as always, Ben, why don't you let everyone know where we can be reached?
You bet. One of the best places to find us is actually on our Discord server. How do you find that? Well, gosh, if you just go to dndiscussions.com, you can find a link there. You can join our server, talk to everybody, have a lot of fun. It's a great community, and you know what? We'd love to hear from you. If for some reason you don't want to speak to us in, as big of a public place, you can always reach out to us on Blue Sky. The show is at DN Discussions. Ryan is at TBK Zord, and I am at Ben Bumhofer. Links to that are also on our website, dndiscussions.com. If that is still too public for you, you can always just email us. Send those emails to dndiscussions@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And you know what? If you have any questions or something that you think would be a good idea as a topic for the show, send those in, because guess what? We love answering those questions. We love brainstorming and thinking of solutions to problems and all that. Do that. You can listen to it on the show. You can have further discussion with all of our community members on our Discord. It's an absolute great place to go. Aside from that, if you want to listen to me play some Dungeons and Dragons, I am on an actual play podcast called Plus 5 to Hit, and we're doing some really interesting, cool stuff. I wasn't actually able to make it to the recording this week, but I am going to be talking to our DM and actually probably recording something to kind of put in as a, hey, this is what my character was doing in that meantime. So looking forward to doing that because I love role-playing, and getting a chance to do it is great, especially if I missed out. So yay. But this show, again, D&D Discussions. Find everything you need from us on dndiscussions.com. It's the best place to find it. With that being said, though, Ryan, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I do love doing this show, and you know what? It's because of you that I was introduced to Neon Odyssey as a potential thing in the first place, so I blame you. But I am so excited.
I'll take it.
Okay. As for you listeners, thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for all the love and warmth that you give on our Discord servers, or Blue Sky, or whatever, or just sending it out into the universe. We get those feelings. But until next time, everybody, make sure that you roll high and be good to each other.
Take care, and we'll see you soon.